All right, welcome back to The Range. This segment is brought to you by Eye Candy. Now, moving on, we're going to move on to college basketball. Now, the NCAA tournament has been going strong, but yet there have been some key injuries to certain teams. Two of them coming from the Big East. Daryl Bryant from West Virginia and Arinze Onuaku from Syracuse. Both of these guys are key contributors to their team. Onuaku has missed the first two games and will miss the third straight. Now, Daryl Bryant broke his foot in practice. So this is a very, very key stretch for both of these teams. Now, anything you got with you guys, do you think these injuries are going to play a key factor in the teams moving forward, or it's going to cause them to stumble?
Well, as far as Syracuse, who I picked to win, no problem. I think Jim Boeheim might be a little bit too cocky with this one. I think that the fact they're playing Butler, right?
Yes.
They're playing Butler, and I guess to me, I believe that he feels that Butler is not as strong as, say, Gonzaga and Butler are kind of the same a little bit. So I guess he feels that he probably doesn't need them as much, so he's giving them an extra game to rest.
Yeah.
Because they play the first day, and they play Thursday, Saturday. Right?
Yeah, they play Thursday, Saturday.
They play Thursday, Saturday. So he might come back Saturday. As far as West Virginia, I mean, their backup point guard,
Joe Mazzulla actually is pretty decent.
He's pretty decent, but he's not an outside threat, of course, because they said that he hasn't made a three-pointer the whole season.
Well, I mean, he only took 5.
That's still bad.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Still bad. Played the 35 games, you only took 5 3-pointers.
I mean, coming from a shoulder injury,
how much they trust.
The shoulder injury caused him to miss most of last season, though. But Bob Huggins does have a lot of confidence in this kid.
So I guess as long as he can break a press and dish the ball around and play hard-nosed defense, he'll be pretty good. And as far as Michigan State, I mean, you lost pretty much your floor. You lost your floor general, but I mean,
to go there.
that
wasn't part of the question.
You're playing a Northern Iowa team that's riding high, so I mean, it just pretty much it levels the playing field a little bit, because you never know. Northern Iowa can go completely cold next game.
Could be.
Or they can come down to the same scenario and he might not hit the shot this time. So, I mean, but Michigan, Tom Izzo, I respect Tom Izzo. He knocked Florida out.
Michigan State.
He knocked Florida out back in the day after we knocked out North Carolina. So, I mean, I give him respect when it's due, and I believe pretty much a lot of the main 3 Big 12 teams, Big 10 coaches have them ready to play. So, I think it's still going to be a closer game than what people expect it to be, because I know some people might think it might be a little.
Let's remember, Tom Izzo, deals with adjustments. If you give him 2 or 3 days to make adjustments on his basketball team, your team's messed up, because they really can't hear me. But Tom Izzo is one of the best college coaches. Besides Billy Donovan. I'll give Billy Donovan some credit. Really good college coach.
Roy Williams.
I was going there if my trigger-happy friend JB over here. They're really good coaches and all. Tom Izzo doesn't get all the respect that he deserves because he only has 1 national championship, while the others have 2. But Tom Izzo has won Coach of the Year 3 times in this decade. Let's remember that. Roy Williams, once. Donovan, twice. So, I'll give him that one. But Michigan State 3 times. So let's just remember that. And all 3 of those times, we didn't went to a Final Four and the championship.
He's on Peyton Manning status.
Huh?
Always the best during the regular season.
Yes, exactly. Well, we don't really
Peyton will get 2 more before his career's over.
Wait a second. We're not really all that good in the regular season.
That's a stab right there.
That's not a stab.
Oh, okay. No.
Higher expectations, because I believe they're a good team.
Yep. Now, another thing with college basketball, we're speaking about Northern Iowa. Now, Northern Iowa decides to pay their coach Ben Jacobson a nice little hefty bonus just for beating Kansas. Now, do you think they paid him too soon just for beating just the #1 seed? Do you think he needs to win a couple more games
Before I was cut off, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Onuaku. I think he's hurt worse than what they originally expected. So that kind of hurts you. Everybody said he was gonna be ready to go this week. I guess he's hurt a little bit more than we thought. Now about Northern Iowa's coach, yeah, I don't think they jumped the gun too early. It is Northern Iowa.
10 years though.
Yeah, 10 years, that happens. I mean, you're college basketball, you get a good coach in your system. It's just like in college football, you sign into a pretty like a lifetime contract. Everybody does. I mean, ask Notre Dame when they did the Charlie Weiss. He had one good season, and they signed him to a 10-year extension. And what happened now? Oh, that's right, he's no longer there. Northern Iowa is the same way. You luck up, got in the tournament. And I wouldn't say you lucked up and beat Kansas because you did what you were supposed to do. But at the same time, I mean, don't expect that kind of effort every year. You're still not an elite program. Any team can do it one time. Ask George Mason.
Well, you got a point. Yes. Yeah, especially with salary going from what, $235 to $495, just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nice little piece of cheese right there. And moving on, we're gonna go to the NBA. So, Chris, what you got for us?
All right, I'm gonna read this out to you right here. Eastern Conference. Miami sitting in 6th, Charlotte's in 7th, Toronto is in 8th, and close behind you got Chicago in 9th. Miami's 37 and 34, Chicago's 33 and 37. Now, Chicago has a chance to make the playoffs, and the highest they can probably get is the 6th seed if Miami just slumps.
Yeah.
So, out of Miami, Charlotte, Toronto, and Chicago, who's the team that will get left out of the playoffs?
I believe Toronto will because they're not playing as strong a basketball they was at the start of the season. Everybody said come down the stretch, you need to play your best basketball. I know Chicago still isn't that good, but they are better than Toronto.
And they're 12 and 2.
Yeah, 12 and 2. I mean, then they have what, 11 games left, 11 games to go. I like their chances. Toronto, on the other hand, they have a really tough schedule coming up. And I just don't think they can win, 6 ball games in their last 12.
Yeah, and then Chicago, they do have all of their players healthy now. Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah both come back from injuries. And it showed, especially when I know they played Philadelphia, but they showed the dominance throughout that game.
I don't care.
Toronto will definitely be the first to go. They've been playing sloppy, so.
All right. And then
Turkoglu can't help him that much.
And I think
Turkoglu better have him clone himself 4 times.
Yeah, and I think we all kind of want to see Charlotte
Chris
make
Bosh.
the playoffs also.
Chris Bosh.
I
feel sorry for Chris Bosh.
And then,
He's going to leave Toronto with no playoffs.
And then we got in the Western Conference, we got San Antonio at 6, Oklahoma City at 7, Portland at 8, Memphis at 9, and a real puncher's chance, a far puncher's chance. You got Houston at 10th. Oklahoma City, Portland, and San Antonio both have 42 wins. Memphis 38, and Houston 36. Who's the last 2 teams left out?
The bottom 2 teams right
Yeah,
there, Memphis and Houston.
Memphis and Houston.
Yeah.
Portland, Portland has no big men, but you know what? They're still, it's still better than what Memphis and Houston have. Houston, we all know, has no big man. They gave up their only chance of having a big man, sent him to Sacramento and Carl Landry. No Yao Ming, there's, sorry, but, Shane Battier may even miss the rest of the season. And I also trust Trevor Reeves as my defensive specialist, I guess you could say.
You got Kevin Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, Jared Jeffries.
Jared Jeffries. But, all he did was shut down the Knicks.
Score's a score, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, mainly those last 3 seeds, they're playing so they don't have to play the LA Lakers in the first round. So either way it goes, the one who ends up the 8th seed will be going home
And I believe that
soon
is Portland.
anyway.
And it's Portland, because I think Oklahoma City will find a way to keep it up and stay at 7. I even see them actually moving past San Antonio.
Well, they have the same identical record.
Yeah, same
San
record.
Antonio just owns the tiebreaker.
On the tiebreaker.
Oklahoma City should have won that last head-to-head, but I do feel that Oklahoma City can jump San Antonio. They're up and coming, and they could be a dangerous team come playoff
They're
time.
starting right now by beating up on the Rockets.
Who do you feel will be left out?
The Rockets.
The Rockets. And I'm guessing
She laughed when she said it.
All right. I got Memphis and the Rockets being left out. I got Oklahoma City staying in 7th. I don't think they'll jump San Antonio. But if they do jump San Antonio, I feel it'll be good because then San Antonio won't have to play Lakers till the Western Finals. And Toronto, I think the Bulls will pass Toronto in the end.
And we'll be back with some Wrestle Talk here on The Range. Stay tuned.